In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I modeled this banana on my Veggie Crate cake. It was actually really fun to do. I used a real banana that I had in the house as my reference. So having a real banana is actually really helpful. I'm using modeling chocolate here rather than fondant because the beautiful thing about modeling chocolate is that it stays where you put it, and it will get nice and hard for you. Not hard like gum paste, but hard enough where it will be firm and you can move it around. But fondant, you'd have to let fondant dry in the shape you want it to be in, otherwise it would just go floppy on you if you tried to pick it up and move it right after you modeled it. So modeling chocolate is a beautiful thing to use. Okay, so you can see I rolled this into a log shape, and then I used my hands to kind of taper off the end because that's how a real banana looks. And then at the very tip of the end there, I flatten it a little bit with my fingers and then use the palms of my hands to taper it off even more, but keeping that flat edge there. Okay, I'm constantly using my palms to smooth the banana to get a nice smooth finish, because we know that on a banana that has not been peeled, it's relatively smooth. It has lines, so we're going to add those lines in as well, but we want to keep the overall finish nice and smooth. With modeling chocolate, you will see fingerprints easily on it, so you definitely want to use the palms of your hands to get it nice and smooth. Okay, now towards the, we'll call this the top of the banana, we want that has to taper down as well into the stem. So I just kind of start by squeezing it with my fingers to thin it out a little bit, because we want to keep the bulk of it nice and bulky until it gets to the stem. So I'm not going to taper it like I did with the other end, I'm going to squeeze instead. So I'm just using my fingers to form that stem, to thin it out as much as it needs to be thinned out. One thing is, you want to be careful to not thin it out too much so that it will break off. And you can see I'm just continuing to smooth it out as I go. And at first I didn't make it long enough. It was a little bit too short and stubby. So you're just going to have to play around with it until you get it to the length at which it should be. And you definitely want to try to do it just how you see it, because if you keep it short, it's just going to take away from the realism of the banana, because people are going to think, their brains are going to automatically think, oh, there's something wrong with that banana. Usually the stems are longer on a banana, so you definitely want to pay attention to these little details. So right now mine is a little bit too short, but I end up going back, noticing that eventually, and going back and thinning out even more. Right now I'm creating the lines on the banana by using my fingertips to and kind of swiping them along the length of the banana. You can see, like, when I put two fingers or my thumbs there together and I swipe it down the length of the banana, it creates those little lines in the finish of the banana. And then again, continuously using palms and fingertips to smooth out my banana. So here I'm noticing, yeah, my stem is not long enough. So I'm going back and just using my fingers to create that rounded top of the banana, but thin out that stem a little bit as well. Okay, and I have it thinned out even a little bit more here. So now the top where you rip the banana off of the bunch of bananas, you want to do a little something with that to keep the realism. So I'm just using the back end of my X-Acto knife to kind of score in little lines like I see in my actual banana here. I'm not getting this perfect like I see it on the real banana, but I'm just kind of creating a little bit of a mess up here with lines and scoring in with the X-Acto and such. And then I'll paint over that. And then I'm creating, like imperfect indentations as well, just to kind of get a little bit of the look up there. I figured that didn't have to be perfect. Okay, now on the finish of the banana, I've got my lines in there, but I'm also using the bristles of this paintbrush to add just finer lines along the length of the banana as well. To keep it real, right? Because a banana is not perfect. It definitely has some imperfections. Then I went to my airbrush and I used lemon yellow and I just airbrushed it. One coat of the lemon yellow, pretty even coverage on the banana. And then I let it dry. Make sure you do both sides, obviously. And then I let it dry for a little bit. And then once it was dry, I got out my electric green. This is a Mara color I'm using. And I just airbrush towards the top. Looking at my real banana, there's a bit of a green tint on the stem of the banana. Of course, it depends on how ripe your banana is, but mine has a little bit of green. So I did a little bit of green towards the top and the stem, and then also on the bottom tip of the banana as well. And I just did that until it looked about right. Then I went back and I used cinnamon petal dust. And I got a little paintbrush and I dry dusted over top of the banana. Those little lines that I formed with my fingers going down the length of the banana, I just kind of went over those a little bit with the petal dust. And then in some random spots up there towards the top, I used a little bit of the cinnamon and brushed it on just to make sure that our banana looked a little bit more real and wasn't just too yellow. We want it to have some of the brown that a banana normally does. I added some petal dust, cinnamon petal dust to the top where the banana's been ripped off the bunch as well to get some shading in there. But then I went back over that with some edible art paint, brown paint, once I'm done with the petal dust here, dabbing it on in some spots until it looks just right. Okay, also on the bottom tip, I shaded that in with the cinnamon petal dust as well. And here I'm using the edible art paint and the color brown. And I'm going to paint in the tip of the banana, and I'm going to paint in the top where we ripped it off from the bunch. You can pull a picture up online on Google, obviously, if you don't have a real banana to look at, and that will be very helpful. And then I just use the tip of my paintbrush and the brown edible art paint to create some dots on the finish of my banana. And that was pretty much it. I added it to my Veggie Crate cake. If you'd like to see how I made this entire cake, including the rest of the fruits and veggies made out of modeling chocolate, you can head on over to Cakeheads.com and sign up for a subscription, a membership to the site where you will learn the art of cake decorating, having lots of fun doing it, and becoming part of the Cakeheads family, which has a ton of amazing cake artists in it that are so helpful and help you troubleshoot all the problems that come along with cake decorating. So thanks for watching. I'll see you later.